Hello and welcome to our first CV Elementary Band music tutorial video. I'm Mr. Snyder and I'm going to be kicking things off today with talking about practicing. How to develop a practice routine, how much we should be practicing and how often, and also how to practice. It's really important stuff. In order to get better on our instruments, we need to practice and we need to spend time with them because we learn a lot of things at school that we need to review and practice so that way they stay with us. And so that way we get better on our instrument, and the best part, so that way we're more confident on our instrument and we have more fun. And that's the main goal, is to have fun on our instrument. But we have to put in a little bit of time in order to get there. So in order to create the best possible experience for your child on their instrument and make the most fun that it can possibly be, I encourage them to practice 15 to 20 minutes per day, approximately 5 days or more per week. I know with the busyness of life that there's all kinds of schedule changes and there's all kinds of activities and things that your family is involved in and your kids are involved in, but I promise you that if they spend those 5 days out of the week, they just carve out about 15 to 20 minutes, they'll have a much better experience playing their instrument and they'll enjoy it that much more. So in terms of how we practice, I'd like to give a little bit more detail to that because that's something I don't really talk about in an email so much as I would explain to a student. But I'd like parents, families, everyone to be involved in this process because it is not something that's we just do it right away and we just understand how to practice. So here's what I ask your child do in terms of their practice routine. When they sit down for those 15 to 20 minutes, we start off, if they're a wind or brass instrument, with long tones. So in terms of what notes they should play, I'll review those with you. Flute, oboe, trombone, baritone, and mallet percussion, the bells, they're going to play the notes F, E flat, D, C, and B flat. Clarinets, trumpets, tenor saxophone, and French horn, they're going to play the notes G, F, E, D, and C. For the alto saxophone, they're going to play the notes D, C, B, A, and G. And here's what I mean by long tones. Here's our note G. F, E, D, and C. And so the whole purpose behind playing long tones is to, number one, get our breathing in control and really think about how we're breathing to play our instrument. And number two, to make sure we're playing really solid, consistent, and quality sounding tones on our instrument. For a percussionist, instead of playing long tones, they might want to be playing quarter notes on their drum pad. Just ta, 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 ta. They could add buzz strokes to that. Bzz, 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 bzz. Or flams if they've gotten there. Flam, 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 flam. Or on the bells, they can just play simply one note at a time and just get their hands warmed up and just move around the bells a little bit so that they're ready to practice. Once we have our long tones under our belt, we are ready to go. And so in terms of practicing, I always encourage students practice and break things down the following way. Number one, they're going to count the rhythm of the song that they're currently working on. Number two, they're going to say or sing, as well as finger along if they're playing an instrument with fingerings, or slide if they're playing a trombone, or airplay if they're a percussionist. And then number three, the last step, is they're going to play. So I'm going to demonstrate that today with a song out of your child's first book, Tradition of Excellence, called Michael Finnegan. It's number 44. It's one of the belt songs that they need to play in order to earn their green belt. And it's one that uses a new rhythm that we call TT, or its real name, 2/8 notes. Now, I don't have the book in front of me. I actually just have the digital copy from Smart Music, but it's going to look exactly the same in your child's book. So what I'm going to do is just run through this one song in terms of count, singing, and playing, but they can do this for all the things that they're working on, including their band music. So they really should be practicing not only the songs that I've circled and marked with their practice chart, but they should also be working on their band music. We want quality over quantity, so I always recommend breaking things down, and here's what I mean. Number one, I'm ready to count my rhythm. I'm going to tap my foot, and I'm going to verbalize and count out loud. That way I know what to expect to hear when I play it. Here's Michael Finnegan. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta. The rhythm for Michael Finnegan, luckily, is the same in every measure. Makes it pretty simple. Now the notes change. So now this is where the singing or the saying the notes and the fingering comes into play. So you might not be able to see all of my fingers in this video, but you'll get the idea. So here's 44, just singing and fingering along. 1, 2, here we go. C, 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 E, G, E, E, C, D, 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 B, D, B, 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 C, 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 E, G, E, E, C, G, F, E, E, D, C, 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 C. So that's step 2, singing and fingering. If your child isn't comfortable with singing, they can just say the notes. C, 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 E, G, E, E, C. However, I really find that singing gets their ear around what they should expect to hear when they play the notes correctly. So I would encourage them to sing. And the more they sing, the easier it'll get, and also they'll feel less embarrassed about it or less timid to sing. Now I'm ready to play it. But what I'm going to do, instead of playing everything right away, I'm just going to do 2 measure chunks. First 2 measures, the next 2, bridge them together for 4. Michael Finnegan has 8 measures, so I'll do that process 2 more times. So here's the first 2 measures. 1, 2, ready, play. Once I feel good about those 2 measures, I'll either do them again or I'll go on to the next 2. Here's the next 2. Then I'll bridge those 4 together. And then I'll complete that process again, or I'll continue that process until I get through the whole song. Now I'm going to play the finished product, and I'm actually going to play it with Smart Music. Smart Music is a tool that we use that is based online. They have a classic Smart Music, but they're going to be discontinuing it, I believe, in the fall. So I would recommend, if you're going to buy your child a subscription, that you would do the online version. It's cloud-based, and it works really, really well in terms of providing your child accompaniment to go along. The only issue, I will say, to be honest with you, the microphone in your computer probably won't do a super great job alone picking up the right notes. It gives you feedback right away when you're done. It'll tell you what notes you played correctly with a green marking, and it'll show you what you did incorrectly with red. However, I'll be the final judge of that with your child while they're playing it for me for their belt songs, whether they did it well or not. So if you'd like to get that for them, you might want to also purchase a decent USB microphone. That would be a helpful tool as well. However, for now, for the time being, I'm just going to play along with my laptop right from the beginning with the accompaniment. Here's Michael Finnegan with Smart Music. Here we go. Great. And then I'm done with one song. Now, I know that took me a few minutes to explain, probably more than a few. However, that's the general idea for practicing. The final thing I want to talk about in this video today, and thanks for sticking with me, by the way. I know this is getting a little long. However, the final thing I want to talk about is creating a good practice routine. In terms of creating a good practice routine, the one thing that we can do is be consistent in terms of the time that we have our child practice. Of course, sometimes it might be feeling like you're pulling teeth to get your child to practice, but I promise you it will absolutely be worth it as long as you continue to encourage them. And also, I would recommend a reward after they're done. It doesn't mean you need to take them out for ice cream every time they're done practicing, but I always recommend, and I tell students this all the time, and this is kind of a life thing. Once you're done working, give yourself a break and reward yourself. Whether that be you're watching an episode of your favorite show on Netflix, or whether that be you're playing Minecraft for 20 minutes, or you're going outside like I did as a kid to run around and play and, I don't know, goof off or whatever you have to do, get some energy out, right? And so I always recommend giving your child some reward time after they're done with practicing. And that will really help maintain a consistent practice schedule. So for me, as an example, if I were to practice and create that practice routine, when I get home from school every day, I get home probably by 4:15, 4:30. So I might take a few minutes to decompress, and then at 4:45 for my schedule, I practice for 20 minutes. So that would mean 4:45 to 5:05. I'd put that time on my calendar, or I'd mark it on my fridge or my personal band calendar, that paper calendar I give out to all your children, all the students. And so I would plan ahead. That way I'm ready to go. And it has to become a discipline before it becomes a delight. It has to be something that you work at to develop before it can become fun to practice. Some days are going to be tough. Some days are going to be really easy. But the one thing that I recommend is creating that practice routine so that way it's part of their everyday. And it's just like attending a soccer practice that they're doing, or hockey practice, or track, or they're practicing for their piano lesson where they're running those drills and they're working on those exercises. And then they're going to see the fruits of their labor. And I'm sure that you will too. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful for you today. And if you need anything from me, if you have any questions or suggestions or feedback for a future video or recommendations for something you'd like me to cover, please send me an email or you can write a comment right here on this video. Thanks for watching.